Welcome to Momtroversial, the podcast that dives headfirst into the beautiful chaos of motherhood and dishes on the stuff we wish we would have known and nobody tells you. I'm Leah, your scrunchy nurse writing the Hot Mess Express, and I'm here to remind you that it's fine, we're fine, and everything's fine.
I'm Alyssa, crunchy mom who's all about organic living. I'm organized, opinionated, and your designated wing woman in any parenting bar fight.
And I'm Tori, your ride or die mama three, who will absolutely hold your baby and your secrets.
And today we are going into the final episode of our clean swaps, and we are talking about clean swaps for health and wellness. We covered, if you missed the episodes, we covered clean swaps for baby, clean swaps for personal, and then we covered in the last week's episode, clean swaps for the home. So today we're going to go into the last step, and we're going to talk about clean swaps for health and wellness. And so with this, let's go into, I just have a quick question for you guys, and then we'll jump right into what our favorite supplements are. Did you guys decide to start swapping out some of your wellness supplements before you had started, let's just say, our crunchy mom journey with other clean swaps? Or was this an after the fact? And what made you start to want to change out some of the supplements? Like, so for example, clean swaps for Tylenol, Motrin, fever support, or homeopathy and oils. What started that for you?
So for me, the medicine part of it always stressed me out. That was scarier than everything else. So that was kind of the last thing I did. But KK, when she was about 6 weeks old, she got croup, and it was just multiple nights of holding her and sitting up while she slept because it didn't feel like she could breathe otherwise. And I took her to the ER a couple times, and they were basically like, she can't breathe enough, or like she can breathe just enough that we're not going to do anything because she's so little, essentially. And I was like, but she's really struggling. And so that was when I started looking, because we were in Korea, so it took a couple weeks to get anything. But I started looking at what I could use, and I found the Croup Trio for homeopathy. I don't know. And so I got that to use for if it happened again to her. And it actually saved her life when she was about 18 months old. Maybe not saved her life, but it really, honestly, I think it saved her life. So that is kind of where that journey started. I started learning about all of that stuff because of that. And I didn't want to be, I wanted to have options, especially for my little itty bitty baby,
Mm-hmm.
for that and for coughs, because you can't give anything to a kid under 1 with coughs because it all has honey.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I found a swap for that too, thanks to Dr. Green Mom. So yeah, that's how I
Heck
started.
yeah. Okay, I love that. Okay, Tori, what about you?
I would say medicine was also one of the last things that I swapped. And I think also because there's so much fear surrounding your kids' health.
Mm-hmm.
And, vaccines were kind of the last thing for me also because we're so indoctrinated, honestly. We're indoctrinated to believe that these are the only things that will help. And we're kind of fear mongered at the doctor and stuff like that. You trust your doctors, at least you're supposed to be able to. And they really push that. You have a fever, Tylenol, Motrin, alternating, and all that kind of stuff. And so, but I Tylenol was really the thing, and this was before everything with Tylenol really blew up. But Tylenol really skeeved me out a little, like a lot, actually, um, because of the liver damage possibilities, but also because it actually inhibits your body's natural ability to heal. And so I just was like, you know, it's a temporary band-aid. Does it make your kid feel better? It like immediately, pretty much, yes. But is it doing more harm than good? Potentially also, yes. Does it make, I've found that I feel like my kids' sicknesses last longer when I have
Mm-hmm.
given them the Tylenol, because it's just prolonging the inevitable. It's not, their body isn't doing what it's been designed to do. And there's like a specific, I don't know if it's an enzyme or like glutathione. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna totally butcher the name.
Glutathione or something like that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Exactly that. It like inhibits the body's use of that, which is what how I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how to like eloquently explain this. But there's plenty of doctors that do. But basically I got it. I felt really convicted about not using it. And so for a while I only used Tylenol or Motrin, like very like sparingly. The other thing was the additives. That's really what got me, was the additives in the medicine. It's like dyes, artificial flavors, like all these really gross things inside of the medicine. And so I'm like, if we're inundating the body with all of these really toxic and compromising type ingredients, is that really actually helping them heal? And so I don't know, it was kind of a Tylenol was the catalyst for me, and then everything else since, I'm like, we don't need any of that.
I love that. Do you have anything to add to that, Alyssa?
I just wanted to CYA and say, we're not doctors. This is not medical advice. Do with it what you will. It's our opinions.
That's what I was gonna say too. Once Tori finished, great minds think alike.
Go team.
Yes. For us, so my story, I think I shared this previously. I come from a background in healthcare and labor and delivery nurse. It's been 6 years now since I got my license, and I've always been skeptical of the overuse of antibiotics from working in healthcare and just how quickly like those scripts get thrown about. But with the knowledge of understanding there is such thing as good bacteria, but the problem with antibiotics is they kill all bacteria, not just the good bacteria. And Declan had a stint when he started daycare when I was working still, and homie was sick every 2 weeks. And I had to take him into the doctor every time he was sick, because if I called out of work, I had to have proof that he was sick and for why I couldn't go into work. And every time I went into work, I was prescribed antibiotics for an ear infection. But when they assess for an ear infection, what they do is they take what's called an otoscope, that's the thing that looks in your ear, and they're looking for inflammation of the eardrum or the ear canal. The eardrum will look like it's bulging and it's red, when it normally is just flat and clear. But the problem with that is inflammation can happen when you have a viral illness, or it can happen from a bacterial infection. And the way that you know that it's bacterial is you have to do some type of a swab or a test. And they don't do that for ear infections. They just prescribe antibiotics. And after we had gone through, I think it was 2 doses within a month, and somebody gave me a script for a third, I was like, this obviously isn't solving the problem. And now my kid is having explosive diarrhea. I'm forcing an insane amount of medication into him. Like, this isn't it. And so that's where I started my alternative route. And we'll go into, if you guys have anything to add, I'll start with the first alternative route, or health and wellness swaps that we've used in our house is for the ear infections, garlic oil. Dr. Green Mom has a blog on this actually, where she will talk about it, and we'll have her stuff linked because I know we'll reference her for other things. And you can do garlic oil. And I've also used essential oils, and you put it on the back of the ear and down the neck, and that helps soothe inflammation. You can do it internally, which I've done as well, just like you would if you were doing an ear wash for a swimmer's ear or something like that. And we've done that. And I would do it's called purification. It's a Young Living oil. And I would do garlic oil. The purification I would just put behind his ear, like diluted like this with the garlic oil. And I would do it 3 times a day. And I would do it for 3 to 5 days. If the fever hadn't broke, then I would take him in. Or vice versa. If I was calling out of work, I would take him in. I would let them do the script of the antibiotics and get it filled, but I wouldn't administer it unless the fever doesn't break after the 3 to 5 days. Because if it's viral, that's usually what the life of the virus is. And so that was our first clean swap that we would do. I got that from Dr. Green Mom. And homie hasn't had antibiotics for an ear infection given to him since May of 2023
Whoop, whoop.
out of all the
Yeah.
other times he's been sick. So do you guys have any experiences with any ear infection or swaps like that for your kids?
I do essentially the same thing. I have the Dr. Green Mom earache oil or whatever they call it. And I use that on me. I use it on Ryan. I use it on the kids. And it's great. I do put it in the ear. Um, and I think Reagan has never had antibiotics for an ear infection. Kennedy has once, and it was because the doctor straight up lied to me. I asked the doctor if I could use my oil first because it was like a weekend. So I was like, I'll take the antibiotics, but like maybe I could try my oil first. What do you think about that? And she goes, it's an inner ear infection, so you can't. It will never reach the ear. And I was like, wow, how odd. So I called my friend whose husband was a nurse and I said, what do you think about this? She was like, I'm pretty sure that's incredibly incorrect, but let me call my husband. So she called him and he was like, yeah, like that's so wrong. But by then I'd already started the antibiotics because the doctor told me to. And so she had to finish them. But yeah, I was pissed. I almost marched back into that hospital, let me tell you. It's in Korea.
I hate
But yeah.
that happened. I hate that happened to you. But one thing I want to praise you for, and this is the healthcare worker in me, is for finishing the script of the antibiotics, because that is something that's super important. Is if you start a script, you need to finish it. And the reason why that is you can end up doing more harm than you can good by not finishing it, by your body building up antibiotic resistance. So then if push comes to shove and you do get some type of gnarly bacterial infection where you need antibiotics for, your body may end up being resistant to certain type of antibiotics because of incorrect usage of the dosing. So that is one healthcare thing that I do want to say for listeners is if you start it, you should finish it. And then you don't have to use it again.
Yeah.
But if you've started it, follow through. And that's for the safety of you and those around you because of bacterial resistance. It's antibiotic resistant bacteria. It's the proper term for that. So,
Yeah.
Tori, do you have any other recommendations for ear infections, earaches usages?
Not for ears. I would say my kids have never struggled with ear infections. That's not a brag. It's just they've had a lot of other issues, but ears, none of my kids have ever had an ear infection. So I've thought maybe
Nice.
they had an ear infection, or if they did, it was something that I just didn't treat for. Like I didn't treat it because it was so mild or whatever. And yeah, so I have got nothing.
Okay, so then let me shoot it back to you then with, let's talk about fevers. What are some of your favorite swaps for fevers?
So my go-to for fevers these days are homeopathy. I use a couple of my straight up go-tos if I don't try to go to the book and do the whole method that with the stuff that Alyssa got us, which is a really cool thing, by the way. We'll have to feature that on our stories because I feel like to try to explain it in an episode is like not going to
So
work
hard.
because we need visuals to explain this. But
Yeah.
it's this method where you basically go through all of your symptoms and they're very specific. It's like fever at night on the right side of the head. It's like very very, very specific things. And then you tick off which like remedies, homeopathic remedies would be like potentially good for this. And then the ones that have the most checks will like, that's what you administer. And so, but my go-tos are belladonna and aconite for fevers. Usually if one of my kids gets a fever, which I will say my kids do not get sick very often. But when they do, I'm immediate on I just administer those. I give those like every 30 minutes for the first couple hours. And then if it's not really coming down, then I'll kind of spread it out or I'll go to the book and kind of see what else it might be. But I also just do a good old fashioned cool compress on the head and the neck. And I make sure my kids stay hydrated. with not Pedialyte, because Pedialyte is garbage. And
Say it louder.
it's such a scam. It really is. Like, there's very little actual good ingredient in Pedialyte. It's kind of along the same lines we were talking about with the Tylenol. There's so many additives in Pedialyte that it's actually, in my opinion, my own personal opinion, not medical advice, it is working against your child or your body to actually help it heal.
Mhm.
Another thing that I've done is bentonite clay baths, kind of help suck like a detox bath basically with bentonite clay. Just like lukewarm to not hot or anything, but also, I'd say I do more of a warm. Because I think lukewarm I know that's the recommendation, but that's just not personally. My kids don't want a lukewarm bath, and I don't blame them. Um, but we'll do that, and then we ride it out. I mean, there have been very little times where I have broken out the dye-free Motrin, because maybe it's been several days and my kid hasn't gotten a break, and then that's when I will break something out like a Motrin to kind of reduce the fever for a little while, but I never use Tylenol, by the way. If I do give a conventional medicine, it is always Motrin. But yeah, and just since I talked about this already, I like Body Armor for an electrolyte swap. They actually just came out with this product called Flash IV, and it has I didn't scan it, but I read through all the ingredients. It doesn't have anything gross in it. I used it for myself. I felt extremely dehydrated yesterday. I mean, like crazy headache, whatever. I drank one of those things, and within a couple of hours, I felt normal again. It's really heavy. I would say probably not. This is like an adult dosage, so I'd say probably a smaller dosage for a child. But and then the Just Ingredients electrolyte powder. I really am a big fan of that also. But it's kind of a myriad of things. It's not just like I feel like Tylenol is a very like, here you go, one and done. Now you can feel better kind of medicine. But to me, managing a fever is very kind of a nuanced approach. And it's kind of you have to take each fever. What are the other symptoms and that kind of thing.
I love that. Alyssa, what are you doing? Do you do anything different for fevers and electrolyte replacement for your girls?
Not really. I
yourself?
exclusively use the Just Ingredients electrolyte or coconut water, but my girls don't really love coconut water, so I mostly sit with the Just Ingredients. We call it sick water. And other than that, I don't really touch a fever unless my kids are visibly uncomfortable or it's been like 3+ days. I don't really touch a fever. I let them rest. We chill at home. If it's really high, I'll give belladonna. But other than that, I honestly don't really touch a fever. But I did want to touch on something you said about how the doctors use the otoscope. I bought an otoscope to check for ear infections, and it's been really helpful just in ruling out, like, especially when they're babies and they can't tell you what's going on, just ruling out, okay, your ear looks fine. Move on to the next thing. So just wanted to say
I
that.
love that.
It's like
I bought one
$10 from
too, but
Amazon.
I could never. Yeah, it's really cheap. I could never, at least with Declan, I could never like hold him down to actually get a good view of it.
My
And
girls
then
like it.
with Ella, I
Weird.
just haven't. I haven't ever done it,
Yeah.
and I've really only taken her into the doctor for being sick once. For being
Yeah.
sick, I think maybe twice. So for us, to be honest, I don't really do electrolyte replacement. I mean, my kids, Declan is the only one who's ever had a stomach bug. And if he would take water, I would give him water. And when like just regular sick, same thing. If they want water, I'll give them water. If they don't want anything, just like when we feel like crap as adults, it's okay to have a little bit of time where you just feel like crap if your tummy doesn't feel like you can take anything. So I don't know. I've never really pushed that personally, and my kids are both doing fine. So
Yeah,
yeah, like I do have to say the one thing is I just ordered belladonna. I need to order some aconite because I would like to try that the next time I have a sick kid. because I have always had to do Motrin for my kids, even with clean swaps, because we get 105 fevers over here in the Carter house.
Mm.
Every time there's a fever, guaranteed at some point in time, it hits 105, 104, 105 with both of my children. And they are just, it's awful. But they're the kids who they will be rocking like a 102, 103 fever, and they're just living their best lives and they're fine and you wouldn't know. But that's because they're so used to having it so high. And so I've tried some homeopathic stuff, not homeopathic, I've tried some holistic stuff for them, but nothing has really brought the fever down naturally. But I ordered belladonna. I'm going to order some aconite. And then I also found this recipe of a lemongrass compress that you can do that will help. And so I'll try
Nice.
that the next time and I'll update you guys after that. But just because our fevers get so high here, there's not really another good alternative. I do have Dr. Green Mom's temperature tamer or whatever
Mhm.
as well. So,
I don't love that
Tori,
one.
I don't love it either.
Yeah.
I don't.
Some of her
Yeah,
stuff
and
is
I'm the
so
same way as
good.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like her Natureprofen. So for just pain, Natureprofen. I love Dr. Green Mom's Natureprofen. I usually don't take anything for pain. I'm like, let's just push through it person. But if I am like this morning, I was dying and my head was killing me and I took her
Uh-huh.
Natureprofen. So that's one of her things that I think is so good. I know Tori has said the bronchial calm from Dr. Green
Yeah.
Mom for a cough. I haven't had to
Yes.
use it yet, but I ordered
100%.
it.
Only thing that will help my kids most of the time.
Okay.
If like the croup trio doesn't apply.
Okay, I love that. Tori, let me shoot it over to you and get your thoughts. And then also let's give us like 2 or 3 of your other swap recommendations. And then we'll do Alyssa and then we'll do our Momtroversial moment.
Okay, so I wanted to just say that I just ordered Rocasa's Relief, Children's Relief, which is like
Mhm.
their Tylenol replacement. And I haven't tried it yet, but I am really hopeful because their stuff tends to be pretty great. And then I also ordered their cough stuff because, we're coming up on the season where
Mm-hmm.
my kids might get sick because everyone's just out here walking around with their germs instead of staying home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and I like that they have a honey free and one that has honey in it. So if you want to give
Mm-hmm.
it to your baby under 1, you can
Mhm.
give, like, they have an option for that. And I love that.
Yeah.
My other swaps are, um, filtering water. I know it sounds kind of silly or like kind of duh for some people, but a lot of people don't think about it. Like, not only just filtering your drinking water, which is extremely important, but filtering your bath water because so
Mhm.
much, again, we've talked about this in several of our last episodes. Your skin is your largest organ. Everything that
Mm-hmm.
gets on it is immediately absorbed into your bloodstream. So all of the toxic, gross things going through your city's water system are going straight into your bloodstream. And so that is a huge, just for like a general wellness standpoint, filter your water, filter your drinking water, filter your bath water. And I mean,
Mhm.
I've even gotten a little bit picky about it. Like, I know at one point, I don't want to say this is true for now, but our church was just filling our drinking water with the sink
Oh, that
water
was
at
so
church.
nasty.
And I was like,
Yeah.
ooh, okay, I'm bringing my own water from now until forever. Because I don't know, I notice a difference in my own health when I have filtered water. Um,
Mhm.
I'm trying to think some other wellness swaps. We mentioned the bronchial calm. This is kind of a controversial one, but the hydrolyzed silver I really like.
Mhm.
For pink
Um,
eye.
for pink eye, for immunity, there's so
Mm-hmm.
many awesome things. And because it's like these teeny, eeny, meeny nanoparticled silver,
Mhm.
you're not at
Mm-hmm.
risk of getting like the blue silver eyes or having like a silver
Mm-hmm.
toxicity or something like that. Um, that is a controversial one, but I am a big fan of the silver. And, something that we've talked a lot about but haven't really specifically highlighted is essential oils. I am more of like I like them for nausea. Like I'll do like a peppermint lemon. I have diffuser jewelry. I've got like a necklace. I have some like lava stone bracelets and stuff like that. And I will just put that in there and it helps with headaches, nausea, like that sort of thing. So I never medication for a headache or something like that for me personally is I'm I'm never doing it because I will think of so many other things ahead of time. Am I hydrated? Am I, I'll use that like the essential oils. And then as an absolute last resort, I'll use homeopathy, but you're never really going to catch me anymore taking like an Excedrin for a headache because I don't need it. And I love that.
I love that.
Yeah.
What are some of your other favorite swaps, Alyssa?
I use homeopathy a ton. That's usually my go-to. Rocasa, Ryan really likes the adult relief. I need to get some of the children's relief. I've just been trying to use what I have before I buy more of stuff. So I love the Rocasa cough syrup. I actually put it I mix it with like hot water and like essentially make like a honey tea with it because the stuff with honey is like
Oh.
thick. Like you can't just take a shot of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean you could,
Mm.
but it's hard. So I do like that. And sometimes I'll add extra lemon and honey so that I'm not using like so much of the cough stuff. So yeah, love Rocasa for that kind of stuff. Love Dr. Green Mom, Bronchial Calm. But really I've just been trying to build up my homeopathy collection. I probably have like 55 remedies. Because that is the downside of it is that it's so specific that like you'll see almost instant relief. It's crazy, but you have to find the right one. And the book that we've all been referencing, it's called The Complete Homeopathy Handbook. And when this episode comes out, we'll do some highlights and stuff on stories to kind of show you what we're talking about. But that's been really helpful. Ryan also got me this book for my birthday called The Forgotten Home Apothecary, and it's got tons of herbal remedies in it for all sorts of different things. So we haven't really been sick, but I've been itching to use it. So hopefully I will soon. But yeah, we'll also bring some stuff up on Tylenol because I know that's, at least when we're recording, it's right after the Trump administration came out and recommended not to use it. So we'll include some studies and the FDA insert on that and that kind of thing. We'll give you some of those resources.
And we'll add it to a highlight.
Yeah.
So that way you guys can reference it. If you're seeing this way after the fact, there'll be a highlight on our Instagram profile at Momtroversial Podcast.
Yeah.
So for me, 2 things, hills I'll die on. Young Living has this essential oil called Digest, or a kid's version called Tummy Jize.
Yes.
I give it away by the bottle to my friends who I love
She
and
literally
adore
does.
when they have tummy issues, because I will die on this hill that anytime I'm nauseated, vomiting, when I was pregnant with Ella, I would just sniff it. I would put it in a washcloth and like sit in the bath or in the shower and like put the washcloth over my face. I would put it on my stomach. I would put it on my chest, and it would make it go away. It was the only thing that ever did that. So Digest by Young Living, I'll die on that hill. It will always be in my house. Number 2 is, we call it thieves tea. So I get like just a throat coat tea bag. I put a drop or 2 of thieves essential oil in it, and then with honey and lemon when I have a sore throat or we're not feeling good. And that, chef's kiss, instantly is a booster. So those are the 2 other things that we do in our house. And then from there, going into Momtroversial moment, I'm going to go into a Momtroversial moment highlighting Tori of this last week. It's a mom fail, but a win. Declan had the biggest wipeout in a long, long time last weekend. Homie's whole side of his face was swollen. We were in the ER.
Aww.
Tori brought me some homeopathy. She brought me arnica, apis, and belladonna. I only ended up using the arnica and the apis. And literally this kid, within 48 hours of using it, had no swelling on the side of his face. And it was the whole side of his face. Like his eye was swollen, his lip was swollen. There was a whole scratch. He fell straight into the pavement off the bike. And no swelling at all. And I have never used homeopathy before until then. And so that's like a 10 out of 10. I went on Amazon and ordered it and am now a full-blown believer in the homeopathy. So that for me is one of my controversial moments that I'm so proud of from this week. And now it's been a week and his face looks normal. Totally normal.
That's
You wouldn't know.
amazing.
It's insane. And Rocasa's Skin Soothe for the redness. 10 out of 10. What about you, Alyssa? What's your controversial moment?
Mine is kind of a sad one. I went this last week. My mom took the girls overnight, and I just took the train down to see Ryan the day before he was supposed to come up for the weekend, just to have 12, 24 hours because we don't see each other as much anymore. And we're driving to the train station, and I'm explaining, mommy's going to go, I'm going to go, and I'm going to pick up daddy, and we're going to drive home tomorrow. And KK goes, Mommy, what if I cried? And I was like, oh, because she's been having a really tough time with just all the transition. And so we've just been extra buddies. And I was like, that's so like aware of you to ask that, and so sad that you're that aware to ask that. Like, yeah. So I was like, you don't have to cry. You can have fun with Nana and Ray Ray. Okay. I was like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Poor KK.
Oh, sweet girl. She's at that age too. I feel like this is the age where some of that starts.
Yeah.
What about you, Tori?
But I'm going to use a very, very old controversial thing, a mom moment, like literally years old, to highlight another wellness thing that we didn't get a chance to talk about, which is chiropractic care. So when Hannah was first born, she was very fussy and would scream her face off in her car seat. It didn't matter if we're going 10 minutes, 3 hours, crying the whole time, bloody murder. Like, we're blaring the music, we're doing everything we can. Nothing is working. Well, we found out a couple months into her life that she had a very severe tongue and lip tie, and she had some mild torticollis. So, there's some exercises we did. We got the tongue and lip tie lasered. But then, and still, it seemed like it was better, but it still wasn't like fixed. Well, we took her, I'm doing all the research, right? So I'm like, we got to get her into this chiropractor. So I think it was literally the same day or the day after she got her tongue tie and lip tie done. We took her to the chiropractor, and we walked in with one baby and we walked out with another one. She was instantly different. She was like, and even David, he was like, I cannot believe we're about to drop $75 on this, ridiculous stuff. He's a believer because it was such a night and day difference and change that he was like, okay, yep. And we've done it with every kid since. I actually got craniosacral for John, and I took Charlie to an osteo because they don't do craniosacral here in Korea. But so I'm massively huge fan of body manipulation in like that way. That was like a weird way to say that, but like chiropractic, craniosacral, and osteo. I love it. So that's my very old but very relevant controversial moment.
Yeah, I love that. I'm big on chiropractic care too. We did that for Decky when he was little. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining us for another controversial episode and finishing out our Clean Swap series. If you guys have any questions, you want to deep dive into any more recommendations, just follow us and send us a DM at Momtroversial Podcast on Instagram, and we would be happy to talk to you and even potentially film more episodes on these topics if you guys let us know if you're interested. Until the next time, keep it Momtroversial. Bye.
Bye.